first time we met was when you came and we were working on the red fern exhibition called Gwanli.
Yeah.
Did you have a name for it at that time?
Yeah, Gwanli means to tell. So it was about the stories of the red fern Aboriginal community and stuff. So, yeah, and that was in 1996, I think.
Oh, was it 96?
1996, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, 95 was when I started working on, but 96 was when the exhibition.
When we first met.
Yeah. And that, so.
And I think you were the, and your name's Dr. Brad Webb, because you just got your PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that you were the perfect person to work on it because you were born close to Red Fern.
Well, yeah, I grew up, lived in Pitt Street, Pitt Street, Redfern. Well, I was born in Cran Street Hospital, but that's where I sort of, the early stages of my life began. So, yeah, so there's always a connection there. And family are all grown up around Waterloo, Redfern, and that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so the Redfern community, Redfern exhibition was a really, looking back on it, was a very poignant exhibition. It captured a lot of images that you were a part of, and Michael Riley, Brenda Croft, and Roger Parton, the four key photographers that captured so much of Redfern from various perspectives and decades. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was happy that Brenda was in it. I've always been very close to Brenda.
Yeah.
Because I was friends with her father, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe. And you were the perfect person because the Museum of Sydney is different to the. Of course, it's different. That's not a nice way to put it, but it's the Sydney Museum on College Street always puts on great big exhibitions, but the Museum of Sydney has been concerned primarily with the rocks and early history, and they've done a lot with Gordon as well. He's got his own room there now with only his paintings in it.
Right, yeah.
And a video on a loop. And I mean, that was just the most wonderful exhibition that you curated. I mean, it must have taken years to do it.
Well, yeah, it was a good year and a half, I think, of putting, which is not that long, but yeah, I mean, I was, working with a good bunch of people within the museum.
A team.
A really good team. So they had more knowledge and experience around what needed to be, brought together. And that's how I learned a lot from them. And that, so, yeah, but, it was really good that community members were also giving up a lot of their personal images and that kind of thing to support the exhibition.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think about the fact that it might have been one of the first times that an Aboriginal person curated anything?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, in a way, when you think about it, like, who are the Aboriginal curators?
Well, I mean, John Mundine was doing a lot of really big things during the mid-'80s and early 80s and stuff like that. And of course, Bimali was doing some really good, really strong exhibitions and stuff, which really, captured my interest, I think, looking at social, political art, which became a real foundation in education for me, I think, and has very much influenced what I'm doing today. So there were emerging curators, I suppose, coming through the institutions and stuff like that. But
so was that the first time you worked with a museum or a university?
Yeah, first time. Yeah.
So it was like a breakthrough for you.
Well, it just happened out of accident. I wasn't I wasn't even, aware of what was going on. I was doing some voluntary work with Koori Radio, and I just finished doing a radio broadcast for Koori Radio, and then came downstairs and stumbled into a meeting that was occurring between Kathy Craigie and Shane Phillips with Museum of Sydney staff, and they just basically said, and would you be interested in sitting in this meeting with us? And then next minute I know I'm starting to be offered an opportunity to work on it. So I was a bit hesitant because I thought, no, I hadn't lived on the Redfern community in the block, and that's I didn't think I'd be the right person. But anyway, it turned out to be all right.
At least you were local.
Trusted me. Shane trusted me, and Kathy trusted me.
Yeah.
And working in the community and going to see people and stuff like that, I was welcome into every home and stuff once they knew what was going on and stuff. So it was easy to access, their personal memorabilia and that kind of thing to support the show.
It really was more of that because your grandmother was part of the Aboriginal Medical Service in Turner Street in Redfern. And I met her and saw her every single once a week.
And that's right. And I'm very familiar with the community and stuff for many years. My father was, when he was, came to Sydney, he played for the Redfern All Blacks as well. So he was known there. My uncle Greg, has always lived in the community and stuff. So the Thompson side of the family was known, and the Webb side of the family has been known as well. So So
before we go on, you were telling me before about because we always, when we see each other, we always talk about your grandmother because she was a wonderful person. How you lived with her.
Yep.
When you were a well-known rabbito. Brad was quite a well-known rugby league. Let me get it straight. Rugby league football player, and he football sometimes means soccer, doesn't it? So footy is a better
in England does.
And he played played in England as well, not just for Australia.
Well, my football career wasn't that long as I would have liked it. I only had probably 3 or 4 years of professional football, and that. But
maybe it saved your brain.
It probably did. I mean, parts of my body, have suffered because of sport and stuff like that. But I'm probably lucky. In one way, I did preserve other parts of my body and stuff like that. And the important things are the ones that my cognitive thing is working good, and
concussion.
Exactly. So probably is a godsend in some ways that I didn't play a long career and stuff like that. But I'm happy that I'm moved into other areas and stuff like that, like arts, and that art became a very big part of my life. I think during the early 90s and stuff like that, it was more about, I talk about this in my PhD and stuff, where I've really sort of gravitated towards art making through overcoming my own trauma and that kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that aspect. It sort of calmed me and relaxed me and just took the focus off other things and stuff like that. I guess that was the beginning of this relationship that I had with art making and stuff. So it's been very important because it's taken me to where I am now, I suppose.
As an artist.
And
that's your book behind you there.
This is one of the works from my PhD show. My PhD was basically looking at how colonial frameworks determine Aboriginal representation and cultural heritage. And that's a big term and has a whole broad meaning to it and stuff. But when I narrow this down, because you have to narrow it down.
And personal too.
Personally, yeah. I've reflected on my own lived experience growing up and how I saw Aboriginal people represented through the media. And it was very troubling because it was always very negative and stuff. And the way the media had portrayed us as, there were very negative stereotypes. There was always images of drunken people in the streets and that kind of thing. So this reinforced this idea about how our culture is and stuff like that, which is so far from the truth. There's so much more to us than the way the white media was portraying us. So it was quite negative. And that had an impact on me. And as I grew up and came through the education system, there was very, very little knowledge or information about being educated about our culture and how incredibly powerful, unique and beautiful it is and stuff. And these things were never, ever, introduced into the education system. And there's been shifts and changes, of course, in that. And there's been some shifts and changes and that, but we're still dealing with a lot of things. So these things had an impact on me. And as I got older, I decided I needed to, as I got out of high school and stuff like that, I really needed to re-educate myself. Some people call it rewiring and stuff. And that, so I needed to look at knowledge.
That's a good word.
Yeah, rewiring and that. So that's what I started to do, is look at Aboriginal literature, because the literature started to be emerging in the 80s. Aboriginal writers were getting more published and that kind of thing. So I was searching for all this sort of knowledge and information, so that had an impact on me as well. And then, of course, working and that kind of thing, all of these things had a big impact. So the PhD is sort of drawing on that, your lived experience, and understanding how we've grown up in a society that is very much curated and structured to white systems and institutions and stuff like that. It's heavily about whiteness and that kind of thing.
And acceptance.
Yeah.
But making it to the top like that is quite an achievement, because starting in sport gives you a leg up, and a lot of people have gotten a leg up through sport that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
think so.
when I say leg up, it is also just removing them from a remote place, except you were already in Sydney.
Yeah.
See?
The 80s were different though. I think not like it is now, like what we see as NRL players, Aboriginal NRL players. Their focus and profile is really, really positive and that kind of thing. There wasn't a lot of profile and focus on Indigenous players in the 80s when I was playing and stuff like that. That was, that's just the way things were and stuff.
Did you experience racism?
Oh, always. I mean, you never escape racism at all. I mean, it was left, right, and centre. You were playing, and people were hurling all sorts of abuse at you and stuff. And this kind of thing, people said, "Oh, well, it's accepted," and that kind of thing. But these things
get over it.
Get over it and
move on.
Yeah. So
that's horrible. That's awful.
Yeah, it is.
It must be pulls you down.
Well,
you didn't get used to it, did you?
You kind of do, and I think you kind of do, but it still has an impact on you, regardless. And
I can't imagine, like excelling in sport, and like getting what's it called? Like I'm American, a touchdown.
All right, try.
Yeah, getting a try.
Yeah.
And you got a try.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a try and you didn't get abused for that, did you?
No. You probably from the opposition
Maybe
supporters,
the opposition,
you probably get it. You probably get something and stuff. But no. I mean, there was a lot of adulation and that kind of thing, of course. But racism's always been a part of society, and it's been a part of sport. And unfortunately, I think we're always going to be confronting it. Because I have this attitude and a belief that if you're consciously aware and stuff like that, then these things come to mind. When they come to mind, you either choose to accept or you choose to engage with it as a positive way and address it. But if you're living in an unconsciously, I say people that live in an unconscious mind is where all the negativity sits, and that's things like hatred, racism, and all the things that really control the whole being of a human being. And that's where I see parts of our community sit, unfortunately, and you see that projected through social media. It's much easier to hate than to say something positive, unfortunately. And hate tends to generate profit on social media. And these are the things that I've talked about in my PhD. It's like when it's much easier to, make money off something that's going to be posted that has something negative, people will gravitate toward it and stuff.
It is true. It's sad, but true.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
So, and the Red Fringe show was a success. I remember that I donated
that was a big success, that show,
my photographs to the Museum of Sydney, but I haven't seen them since.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then I went and collected a whole bunch more and gave them to the museum as well for doing it.
Yeah, the big poster that was
a beautiful big poster.
It was incredible.
Have you got one?
Well, I had one. I don't know what happened to it. But I mean, during all of our moves and stuff over the years, I mean, the poster.
Well, because I've got one, we could reproduce it.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'd love to
it's
be able to. Right.
So we could just take a picture of it.
Yeah, and get a print.
Now it's easy to do things like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to have one of those.
I think it'd be good for you to have one.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, what we could do too is just make some a bit smaller than one of the. Anyway, this is supposed to be talking about how then you curated the 2000 Olympics at the Australian Pavilion.
Oh, the Australian Pavilion, yeah, with the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council. With Kip Munro and stuff. So that was I mean, it was a great experience. It was challenging, very, very challenging because...
When you say challenging, it was a huge amount of work.
Yeah, because, I mean, we were... myself and Hilary Houlihan, a really good friend that helped work with me on the show, on building a lot of the art. We travelled around New South Wales, various parts of New South Wales, from down south towards Wominjeka Lake, out into Canberra, out to... Dubbo, up into Moree, Lismore, Kempsey, down that way. So there's a lot of travelling and collecting art, and we collected art and we were packing it into a Toyota Hiace van that we hired and stuff. It was crazy. And we were going out and we had done the right thing by community members. We had
paperwork
agreements and stuff like that, so it was all legal and that kind of thing. And that, so it was just giving New South Wales artists an opportunity to have their work showcased and presented at an international event where thousands of people are going to come through and have a look at this art and stuff. So yeah, that was good. But the hard thing was working with the odd hours of doing that. Like we had to start work at 1 a.m. and we'd finish at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would be getting in a van and driving out of there and leaving this place. So I really get to enjoy the Olympic atmosphere because I was working at these odd hours of the morning, always rotating the exhibition of work and that kind of thing. So some challenges in that.
So that's when Gordon, you worked with, can you bring me this paint back here? Pull this one out, Gordon, right here. Because that's one of the ones you painted for the exhibition of the emus.
Oh, I can't remember.
And if you put it up here on the chair maybe and stand behind it.
camera can pick that up.
Yeah, that was the emus. And
Yeah. This
you want to
is.
explain it?
Sorry?
Do you want to explain do you remember the story about it?
No, I don't remember the story because it was that long ago. It's so long ago.
It was.
I can't remember the story to it, but I mean, what I always love about Gordon's work is it's, the siren blue, it's such a beautiful colour and it's a signature to a lot of Gordon's work.
Mm-hmm.
But, the emus, is that part of...
It was that emu study of emu.
The study of emu.
I think it was 10 of them or something like that. And Gordon, you remember you told me the story about how the male emu, they always, the eggs are laid along the river or water.
Okay, right.
Because that male sits on the eggs and the female pisses off. Takes off, and doesn't raise the young or sit on the eggs or protect them or anything. Just disappears.
Yeah.
And the male emu, and you said that the male Aboriginal is also like the emu, strong.
Right.
And teaches them all the knowledge they know and passes on everything and protects them. True? And I think that in this picture there's an Aboriginal man in a boat over here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That he doesn't bother them when they're like that. Mm-hmm. So the eggs can be hatched.
Yes. Yeah.
And if he does take an egg, he just takes one. He doesn't, like they did eat for protein if they needed it.
Yeah.
But when there was a lot of them, they would have fought him.
Right, yeah.
So there's a season.
Yeah. Okay.
And it, and also the man somehow might even help keep goannas away or something. You know what I mean? Like this picture really feels like they're in partnership or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that he's just watching. Not disturbing.
Yeah.
It's a very peaceful scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like this the balance between.
Yeah, and it's got the Southern Cross and the moon.
Yeah.
Gordon loves painting moonlight.
Right, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very effective, evocative as well, the blue.
All right, put it down.
Okay. Come and sit down.
That's beautiful. Right?
Yeah, so Gordon, you've had a lifetime of painting about redcoats.
Well, that's what Australia's about, redcoats. When the redcoats came, that's when they started to make the history. That's when the company started to be built. Created, manufactured, made.
Was it before?
No, it existed for thousands of years before. When the redcoats came, things changed.
What else changed?
Pardon?
What else changed?
What else changed? You got policemen on the street, so they asked the Aboriginals what changed.
Why did you start doing art?
Pardon?
Why did you start painting about the redcoats?
Of course, the redcoats had me in jail. I was in prison. Really made me think about why I was the redcoats. I
think that I didn't know it at the time, but I didn't understand much about art or Aboriginal community because I was a high school teacher, but I was teaching history, and I didn't know anything about the Australian history. It was sad. Only what was in books that they gave me to teach.
Yeah.
And it was distorted. It was, Aboriginal people were just really left out.
Yeah, they didn't really teach a lot of black history. They couldn't teach
it
black
wasn't.
history.
It didn't exist.
No, they exactly they. Well, it was all part of erasure, you know.
Oh, there were questions like I'm trying to think about boomerangs. What is like introduction to Aboriginal weapons? Or
Yeah.
what they used to catch kangaroos with and things. You know, it's there.
Yeah.
They had pictures of them in the book.
Yeah, they're only just exploring these things now, like, you know, with the boomerang, the ingenuity of flight and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember they didn't even say that they had their own language.
Yeah.
It was as if they, I don't know, like they were just quiet all the time, and they were docile, and they fringe dwellers, and they were just didn't care about the land or anything. They were just quiet.
That's right.
Never fought back.
Yeah.
That was the attitude in the history books that I perceived when I came in 1971. And I came here because they needed teachers. So, but I was an English teacher. I didn't know much about American history. I mean, to teach it even. So that was a bit odd to throw me in to teach Australian history. Because I wasn't even from Australia.
Yeah.
But I learned very quickly because I bought books, and I was surprised that that in the books that Aboriginal people didn't exist.
Yeah. So how did you get into photography? What?
Mainly because I just went to. I was at Picnic Point High School for 2 years, and then I was transferred to Randwick Girls.
Oh, okay.
And Randwick Girls is very close to Redfern.
Yeah.
And I lived in an Bondi Junction in a house, and then moved to an apartment, and some of my high school kids, they said, "Miss, do you want to come to a protest?" And they were very hesitant about it. They were Aboriginal kids, and I was interested. I said, "Yeah, what where is it?" And they said, "Well, it's tomorrow afternoon," and maybe it was a Friday, and it was on a Saturday, and you got to come to New South Wales Parliament House. So I went there, and then I didn't take my camera. I just went to see what was going on and what it was like, and I thought, wow, Aboriginal people are going to stand in front of the Parliament House and say something. I thought that's the most I've ever heard from Aboriginal people, because they were never on the news even. And when I got there, I thought, where's the TV cameras? And nobody even had a camera taking pictures, and there were a lot of elderly people and a big crowd. But they were very respectful. They weren't in the road. They were just lined up in front, and there probably were 100 people. Yeah. That was in the 70s. And I remember going home and getting my camera on the bus, because I didn't have a car, and I never thought to take a cab. I mean, there were so many people anyway. And when I came back, no, they were all walking away. So I made it my business. I asked questions from those kids and about where do you live and how did you know that was on? And I found the Aboriginal Medical Service just starting and the legal service just starting. And I walked in there and I just said, why didn't somebody take pictures of that? And they just stared at me like I was amazed. And next time they had a protest, I was there.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
But in America, they were integrating the schools. And I'm telling you, if 10 people got together and marched down the front main street in my hometown, people ran out there and took pictures.
Yeah.
Because it was like, something's going to happen. There might be violence. Oh my God, the KKK is going to find out about that. And those people might get in trouble and they might get hung tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that was for real in my hometown.
Yeah. Where was your hometown? Was it?
There was a small town called Manatee, and the next town to it, which my town doesn't exist anymore. It's all called Bradenton.
Yeah. It's
on a river, and it's on the Gulf of Mexico, so it's a protected side of Florida. And Jacques Cousteau came down our river while I was here. I didn't get to, it happened while I was over here after the 70s. And he came down that river and made a documentary about the manatees, and you call them dugongs here.
Oh, okay.
Our river had a lot of manatees in it. It was a beautiful, big river.
Right.
And my daddy was a chemist, and and the integration took part just right when I was graduating from high school. But I had a younger brother and a younger sister, and I heard about it, more. So I went off to university and wasn't involved in my town, what was happening. But half of our school probably was pulled out, and they started forming the school. Like my Uncle Joe, he said, my daughter's not going to go to school with a nasty word, not going to sit next to a blank, and it was a terrifying time of violence in the South in America. And everybody thinks Florida is like, oh, it's really educated and rich people live there, but all of Florida is made up of little towns that are racist towns. And Miami Beach is where the migrants came, and then that's more educated. Yeah. Anyway, I'm talking too much about that, but the art here took off, and the art is the ones that told the story and kept the stories of the politics alive. Yeah. And the dance. And you were the director of Bamali.
Well, I was the curator. Was the curator of Bamali.
Okay, but you were the head of it.
Well,
you were the boss.
No, well, not so much.
You were the boss.
No, we had a manager. So the manager would probably say I was the boss. They handled the other aspects of the cooperative and stuff like that. But it was that was a wonderful education of 3 years in that space. Seeing a whole range of Aboriginal artists coming through and from different parts of New South Wales and in inner city, Sydney and that kind of thing. I wasn't, they were coming through, the universities and stuff like that. And I hadn't had any university experience or whatever. And I thought I really would love to be at some point doing what these guys are doing, going. So it would take a good another 10, 15 years before I would venture down that path. But it was still great to be able to work with every Aboriginal artist through Bamali, and being exposed to even earlier the work, the artists that had set up this organisation or this cooperative, the founding members. That I won't name them all, but we all know who they are and stuff like that. But thankfully that they worked to establish something like this, because it's the oldest urban contemporary art space in the country, and that's so it has a really good legacy. Even living here in Melbourne and stuff, and speaking, when I teach and stuff, I always reflect on this cooperative and how important it has been for urban contemporary art.
And it's still going too.
Sorry?
It's still going strong.
Still going strong, yeah. No, it's great. It should.
And you remember Dr. Mick Asher?
Sorry?
Dr. Mick Asher?
Yeah.
He always bought paintings from there.
Yeah, it was always free. It was great to, Marie Bashir, she was wonderful. She would always patronage the place, and she would open shows for us. Politicians would come in. I mean, Albanese's come to shows when I was there. We had the Wick show on and stuff like that. It was, there was all sorts of, high profile people coming through the space, supporting, urban Aboriginal art.
Yeah, Bronwyn's been a real backbone of the place.
She has. She's done it.
I remember her one time that I took pictures of her presenting to what's the guy at Midnight Oil?
Peter Garrett.
Yeah, Peter Garrett. She had 20,000 signatures, and she had boxes full, and she walked and she handed them to him, and it was in a meeting or someplace.
Yeah.
And
she was mover and a shaker.
Yeah. I was so proud of her. I believe she arranged it. It was like amazing. It was built really well. Brenda and Hetty worked well as a team, and really lifted its profile and stuff even further. And that I was when I came in, they'd left and moved on into their careers and stuff like that. They were really good to Gordon. He had a one-man show there. Keith Monroe spoke, and Dr. Vivian Johnson spoke, and but he's always he never really donated paintings to be sold much.
Yeah.
But he always tried to put one in a group show sometimes, and certainly they sold paintings when we asked them we really needed money. Yeah. Even just for $200.
Right. Yeah.
They were great. They called it. We sold it. We thought, that's so good.
Yeah.
And they just recently they showed the Waratah Forest painting.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some fun times. I've curated a number of Gordon shows over the years and stuff.
Oh, well,
it's been a lot of fun.
We haven't even mentioned that. At the sheriff's office at the Downing Centre.
Downing Centre,
when I say you curated it, you came and picked this up with your car and you hung it in all those windows around the Downing Centre by yourself.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And then also you put my dance pictures in one of the windows.
Yeah.
And that was really nice.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. And I'm sure that the Aboriginal dancers can always look at that film and see that. Barry shot that. Barry Ion. He shot that show.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And and I remember Gordon, you were having an exhibition there, and Honorable Michael Kirby opened it, and it was right at the Downing Centre where a lot of Aboriginal people got tried and taken away.
Yeah, exactly.
I got tried at the Downing Centre.
I didn't know that. I thought you were tried at the Darlinghurst Court.
Well, I was at the Downing Centre.
What were you put in a cell in the... What? I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Didn't you have a trial at Darlinghurst Court where you came up through the...
Yeah, that'll do.
Pardon?
That'll do.
You had to come up through the trap door. And you said Mr. Roden, Judge Roden, he came up, he was later a judge, Colin Roden. He came up through the trapdoor first and they were expecting you. That was your first child?
Must have been.
Did you have 2 childs?
I had 3 trials.
Really?
Okay, I didn't know that. Why 3?
I appealed.
What?
I appealed. I got an appeal. Appealed twice. I had 3 trials. I went in trial 3 times.
Did they have trouble convicting you? I mean, why did you have 3 charges?
Because I had trouble proving that I got a fair trial.
In the media or? Okay. Who was saying it wasn't fair? You didn't? You said it wasn't fair?
I said, and the papers must have said, I don't know. The legal system.
Okay. So, when you curated that show, I didn't know that he got child in the Downing
Oh, the
Centre.
Downing Centre.
That's a bit creepy.
Yeah. What Ruddock came along? Philip Ruddock.
Who?
Philip Ruddock there.
Who?
Philip Ruddock.
Oh yeah, Philip Ruddock was
Came
there.
and opened it,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Philip Ruddock spoke.
Yeah.
Honourable Philip Ruddock
Honourable.
spoke too.
Honourable Philip Ruddock. Sorry. Yeah.
and Honourable Michael Kirby and
Honourable Kirby, yeah.
Dr. Larissa Barrett.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't forget her; she's
Yes.
important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Linda Bruni came to so many exhibitions and opened for us too, but not that one. We probably asked her and she was busy, but that was a major exhibition. That one.
Yeah.
And it was important.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how important it was that you had been tried in that.
Tried where?
In the
Downing
Downing
Centre.
Centre.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but I'm like I thought I knew almost everything about you, but I don't. But we've been together 28 years now. Can you imagine? That is a long time.
Yeah.
Because you knew me when I wasn't with Gordon.
No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we weren't together
You're
yet.
living
We
in
weren't.
Paddington. Just near. So I came to your place.
Yeah.
Um,
And I gave you some of my pot plants when I moved to Magnetic Island. I had these I had these gums that were peppermint gums in a pot, and when the wind blew, you could smell the peppermint.
Yeah.
I loved them so much. I wanted to buy some, but later, and I never did buy another one. But I haven't forgotten them. Do you think they have them in Melbourne, where we live now? You live in Melbourne. We live in Melbourne now.
Yeah, it's crazy that we've moved. We all live down here now and stuff. But it's a good place to live. I think they have a real devotion to the arts and stuff, and more so than I think Sydney does. I mean, Sydney has a devotion to the arts, but Melbourne it's more prominent and stuff. And there's a real focus on it. So that's what I love about it.
Wow, Federation Square is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you see trams with Aboriginal art and designs on them. Yeah, but they're always having these things annually each year. And trams and stuff with Aboriginal designs. The presence of Aboriginal, even working within the institution now, I mean, there's, I'm getting the opportunity to really shift.
You're a
lecture and
at
ways
Monash?
students are engaging with Aboriginal culture from different ways of knowing and being and stuff. So
Where are you at? Are you at Monash?
I'm at Monash now. I'm at Monash, and I've been there for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. And I've been teaching or lecturing in architecture, art design, and art history, curation. These are the students that, take our unit and stuff. So they get a really good comprehensive look from creative arts perspective of, like just Aboriginal culture, but also, Aboriginal art practice, and Aboriginal literature and that kind of thing. So these things really help them have a broader understanding and stuff. So, yeah, decolonising, we like to think, for what we're doing.
So let's jump to your last exhibition.
Yeah, well, that was at William Morra Gallery.
What was it? The
William Morra.
Okay.
And William
It's
Morra,
quite a well-known gallery.
yeah, it's the oldest, one of the oldest Aboriginal.
In Melbourne.
Yeah, gallery spaces in Melbourne. And he's had a real, strong relationship. William, God love him, he's passed on now, but he had a strong relationship with Central Australian artists, and, bringing a lot of that work to Melbourne.
So they were happy to have your art because it wasn't Central Desert art. It was political.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I approached Anna, William's wife, and asked her if it'd be possible to have my PhD show. Showed her the work. We sat down and have a conversation about it, and then she agreed to have the show. And yeah, it was in May last year, 1st of May, and Senator Lydia Thorpe opened it, which was even great, because a lot of the work that I created through it, she really speaks to a lot of what I've been creating in this research and in the art. So she was an ideal person to open it. So I'm so glad she did. And it was a really good, I was quite overwhelmed by it all and stuff, because it's, this sort of work, you live with it for 3 years, you're writing about it as well. I think it's really, it takes a heavy toll on you. So I think on the night I was quite emotional. I mean,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we happened to be in town.
Yeah.
And we brought Barry with us, and he was able to film. And you had a well-known parliamentarian there too.
Yeah.
Lydia Thorpe.
Lydia Thorpe, yeah.
And Barry filmed that for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you can watch that later with a link, which we could join up with this talk maybe later. Yeah.
It's good. It gives some context, I suppose, to a lot of things.
Yeah, and also good for the gallery to get credit for putting it on.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't exactly a money-making exercise. Because look, that's the work behind Brad that he produced, and you can imagine that it's not like having a landscape scene in your living room.
Yeah.
I would have it, but
my work's pretty pictures, and stuff. It's I know that it's going to make people uncomfortable.
But you know what it is? It's a museum collection in itself. It stands alone.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell me about it a bit?
Yeah, well, this work, it came about through the idea that, we were talking earlier about slavery and that kind of thing. And, Scott Morrison, the previous Prime Minister, he made this comment that there was no slavery in Australia and stuff. But you can go on social media, on the internet, and you can just type up Aboriginal slavery, and you're going to get images like this, and that. So that was kind of the starting point to the idea, to the painting and stuff like that. But then I looked further at, eugenics and stuff like this, and the Darwinism and that kind of thing, and then that sort of fed into the idea of the White Australia policy and making Australia white, purely white, and that. So the combination of these things, I mean, the eradication of us and the erasure of our history, and then putting a prominent white Australia in front and that kind of thing is what this work is symbolising and representing. But there's also this hidden part of our history as well, and the chains and stuff like that are part of that history. They were the things they brought here and stuff, and they just shackled us up when they wanted to move us away from different parts of our country and that, and position us in different parts of the country where it wasn't our language or our culture and that kind of thing. So this is all part of that erasure that was going on and stuff. But in 1901, we weren't even citizens of the country, and this flag is symbolising, federation and stuff. In 1948, they were saying, the country Australia becomes, Australia in that sense. But there was nothing about our culture. I mean, it would be 66 years later then when the country would recognise us as, being included in the census to be counted as part of the population. But it was also about other things as well. It's like, because, Aboriginal people were working and stuff like that, we were working for nothing. We were working for flour, tea, and sugar or whatever, whatever wages white employers would pay us and stuff. And I guess the government realised, people are getting paid. It's like, if we include them as part of the population, then we can tax them, and stuff. So there was motivation for that. So this is why the 67 referendum was a shoo-in, because what it would represent is that, okay, we include this population of Aboriginal people, then we can include them as part of, paying citizens that can be taxed.
I never thought about it that way.
Well, that's just one eye theory of it. I think, it's probably a little bit more
I never
than that.
thought about it that way.
But they couldn't tax us because we weren't citizens of this country, So it would make sense that we would become citizens of this country. Because
it was embarrassing. It was
Well, it's about
embarrassing.
money, It's always
But it was
money.
about money.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was embarrassing that they weren't citizens.
Yeah.
Because they lived here and they had it before.
Yeah.
It was their country.
Yeah, we never even,
It still is.
Yeah. We weren't, and people say that all Aboriginal people are dole bludgers and this and that. There are more non-Indigenous people on unemployment benefits or Centrelink or whatever than Indigenous people in this country. And that we weren't even entitled to, Aboriginal welfare until, or what is it, Social Security until it was 1969, I think it was, and stuff, when we were able to receive, Social Security benefits and stuff.
And they couldn't own land, which was part of Gordon's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That the uncle had to have it in his name.
Yeah.
That was part of Gordon's story.
Yeah. And that's it. And Gordon made this strong comment in that statement is, enough's enough, So, yeah.
That's why I went to prison again.
Yeah.
The adopted son came along, little adopted white fella. He said, this is my land.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we've enjoyed. So this is what I wanted I guess I wanted to write about all of this sort of stuff. I know that I haven't really captured it as much as I would have liked because it's pretty hard to write about things and then create work about it and stuff like that. And because it does play with your head a bit and stuff. And I think, so I had to really focus on the key things that I thought were most relevant in the work, because you can go down a rabbit hole and stuff and that. So, yeah.
Anyway.
So you really I remember when you curated a show that we didn't pay you anything.
You always paid me. You gave me. You always paid me. You shouldn't say that. I mean, I would do anything for you guys because you've been very supportive of me and my family over the years.
I feel bad that we didn't pay you.
Yeah, well, you paid me in an artwork which is just as invaluable, you know, and they still sit with us in our family. So yeah.
I think though that if we do another show, we'll be able to pay you. Wouldn't that be nice?
That's all right. It doesn't bother me either way. You know,
because you love looking at Gwen's paintings.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know.
He's done some more.
Yeah.
You look at this one behind you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's about North Queensland.
Yeah. It was so cool when I was to do the students when they have to do art assignments and stuff, and they've got to choose an artist and stuff. It was so cool to see a student with an Asian student that chose one of Gordon as an artist and wrote about his work and did an essay on it and stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And I said, well, I know Gordon very intimately, so yeah, and his wife. So I mean, know them well and stuff. And they were like, wow, so very excited. So yeah, and of course I cited judging by his peers in it because it's an iconic work. It's an iconic work that speaks to a lot of things and stuff. Like you know the fact that Gordon's changed the narrative in terms of how he's painted this picture and put the black sheep and that kind of thing was very important. And to unpack that with the students when they were looking at it and stuff like that was really gave them a real strong understanding of social justice and stuff.
Turning those pictures around.
Yeah, exactly. And that. So, yeah, it's these things are
it's a powerful
thing. Yeah.
I think one thing that struck me as a not non-Australian when I first saw it, and that was when Gordon came out of prison and Mum Cheryl took me to meet him. And she wanted to interview him, and I put my little tape cassette down on the table, and I took a picture of them, two of them, and they were sitting at little kid's desk at the Eora College, where he was a teacher, and you were an art teacher, and then I took a picture of them, and I walked out so they could be private, and the tape recorder was going. And that was the first time I met Gordon, and then he showed me, after that talk, he showed me just a picture of Judgment by Its Peers. He didn't have it there. And he showed me a painting that it was painted, and I think I took a picture of it in there. That was the first time I met it, so that was in '82. And what struck me about it was that it was universal. It could have been America.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It could have been South Africa or, well, any African country, certainly. Yeah. But if you had have had it in England, any colonizing country where color was involved. So a lot of South Americans are dark people.
Yeah.
When I say dark, the color of their skin would be a very dark brown.
Yeah.
Cuban people or very black people sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was just so universal.
Yeah.
And I was just, I fell in love with Gordon's paintings before I ever fell in love with him. Decades later.
Yeah.
So we should we end here? Did I skip something?
No, I think that's perfect.
Because
way to finish.
I think that you did curate more shows after that, though.
Yeah.
You did at Mossman Mossman with Mel and Daz at the what was it called? The cottage out there, Governor's Road.
Yes.
Governor's Road, and that's a historical place out there.
Yeah.
Where they actually, the redcoats had holes in the walls where you could look through and
shoot
people.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, Gordon?
Yeah.
That area.
Yeah.
Out there it was where you could see the two heads.
Yeah.
They arranged one time for us to go in a boat out through the heads, just like the redcoats that come in that Gordon paints about. And it was extremely rough. And Gordon's standing there he was really at attention. I was just holding on, trying to stay in the boat. It was a real small boat.
Yeah.
And a friend took us out.
Yeah.
Well, past the heads and came back in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, just to say we did it. And when we went by the heads, Gordon's really looking up at them. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Crazy.
okay, so,
Yeah.
that exhibition out there that you curated, that was important. And I remember we had Rhonda and Nadina came and sang, and they're from a historical family, aren't they? But Chicka Dixon, and
Yeah. Yeah.
wasn't he a warrior?
Yeah. Social political activists, sure.
Well, I think Gordon's a warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, just kept me in line.
Yeah.
I said, you kept me in line all these years.
Ah.